Hi, my name is Ludas Butkus, and in this episode of What to Hodl, I want to talk about the BitNation ICO. What they want to launch, actually they are already running a online nations. It's kind of hard concept to grasp from the start, but overall it's quite genius. Though how to implement it and how to make it work is going to be a really huge task. So Bitcoin, decentralized our money. There's different other projects that tokenize our assets. And BitNation, with its Pangea software, the Pangea is like the whole, the core of the project, and the name is BitNation. And the Pangea wants to decentralize basically everything and put everything together and create nations. So what do you need if you want to create a nation? So a group of people, and you can have your own money. There's Bitcoin, you can use a token. What else do they need? They need to trade peer-to-peer. There's smart contracts. You can also do other kinds of contracts. They have made the first online marriage token, contract, not token. I will go more into what they have already done a little bit later, and we'll dive into the white paper. What else would you need as a online nation citizen? Well, some other contracts, escrows to communicate peer-to-peer, and I think it's better to just dive into their white paper. They have some pretty neat graphics, and so this is the evolution of governance. So there were tribes, cities and states, representative democracy, and holacracy is when it's all decentralized, and we can decide to which nation do we want to be a part of. So yes, this is very futuristic. Yes, this is maybe a far-fetched concept, but it's definitely a interesting one, and they already have it running with their previous software, and now they want to do an ICO, raise more money, and improve this project even more, and gain even more traction. So it's very interesting. Yes, the idea is really huge actually. So there's some stats over here. There's already over 200 nations registered in the BitNation using the Pangea software. So anyone can create a nation using the Pangea. They can either fork the software, or I think there is some inbuilt features. There are over 100 embassies and consulates and over 10,000 citizens. So basically users of these software. So that's not that many, but there's already that core user base that's interested in this. And there's a dynamic community of 2,000 plus contributors. So there's a lot of contributors needed for this project. So for example, you want to trade or offer a service in your nation. So there's two people, and you need to write a smart contract. Due to that there are already services that can tokenize our assets, you can put an asset in an escrow. For example, you need a loan from a bank. So your bank would be maybe some other citizen with the money, and you would get a loan from them. and you would get into a smart contract, and you would give your assets, your tokenized assets, into an escrow. And if you're late or something is wrong, you will need a arbiter. And arbiters can be just uh, citizens in your nation, and they will then vote and decide on the smart contract. So that would be the idea. And as more stuff gets tokenized, there's going to be more and more use cases for Pangaea and the whole BitNation's concept of decentralized. How does it go? Well, for these decentralized nations. So there's the use cases, business agreements, private agreements, and essential records. So this is an interesting one. In Uganda, Iran, Chechnya, and many other countries, being homosexual results in persecution by the government. However, a gay or lesbian couple might still want to engage in a legal union in order to protect their assets by tying their union to ownership records of, for instance, their land ownership titles, mutual saving wallets, bills, and child care contracts. They can do so on Pangaea because Pangaea is not your government. It's a code is law on Pangaea. Smart contracts can be written, and they give ultimate freedom for the people. And again, this is a pretty far-fetched concept. We'll see how it all plans out, but this can be the future, and it's already being created right now. So imagine writing all your contracts, wills, childcare contracts, your marriage documents on the blockchain, and you don't really need your government to oversee everything because you can do it over here. And as it grows more and more and more, it will have uh, even more recognition. So yes, right now, if you're using it, you're the early go-getter and trying it all out. But overall, this might definitely be the future. So market for freelance arbiters, smart contracts, and laws. So anyone can sign up as an arbiter. So if there's a dispute or something, you could be a Wall Street lawyer offering to arbitrate complex mergers and acquisitions cases, or a car motor dealer offering to resolve second-hand car sales disputes. So based on your profession, you're more suited and your vote is more valuable on certain disputes. Each arbiter sets their own fee, rate, and availability, and describes their experience and expertise, and the code of laws and jurisdictions they know. Citizens entering into contracts can choose arbiters based on price, reputation, and expertise. So there's no lawyers basically in these nations. Everything is based on arbiters, and if there's some problem, there's going to be disputes, and the key that is that every citizen will have its reputation. If you're doing some bad stuff, you will not go to jail in the BitNation, but you will have your reputation shrunk, and it will be much harder to interact on the BitNation. Now, right now, when it's not that popular, you can come and go, and you don't really, you probably will not care about it once, well, when it is so small. But in the future, imagine that everyone is using it, and if you are doing something wrong and you are lowering your reputation, it will be really, really hard for you because everyone is in the system, and I think that can be a really powerful measure against bad actors for the system or against the system. So next, we have here evolution of society. There's a graph of trust and governance at every single crisis. The trust is just going down and down based on different poles. So this is the BitNation history, what they have already done. It's not the roadmap yet, but it's what they have been doing. So they have started out in 2014. So several years of development has already been done. So they have world's first blockchain marriage, world citizenship, and other pilots. So yeah, as I talked, they created the world's first blockchain marriage, which is very, very interesting. Next, first iteration of Pangea using the Horizon chain, blockchain land titles and birth certificate pilots conducted. So basically different smart contracts for the nation's users can be created, and they are experimenting on that. Refugee emergency response, blockchain ID, citizen and embassy functionalities. So refugees that they don't have any IDs can join the BitNations, get their ID, and start their life in maybe a different country and have some identity. Public Notary MVP created in cooperation with Estonia's e-residency program. So they have some connection with Estonia, and they are working on similar projects. Launch on Ethereum, DBVN, basically the Decentralized Nation Resource Center, and Pangea version 0.2. So they were using the Horizon chain. Now they will be launching, well, they actually launched on Ethereum, and from now on they are working on Ethereum, but they are blockchain agnostic, which means they can jump from one blockchain to another. It's not the main deal. They basically can rewrite their contracts and use on other blockchains. IPFS, PAT, and NetExplo. IPFS centric Pangea backend, which is data storage, which is decentralized, PAT token design, and UNESCO NetExplo award. So they got awarded for their very futuristic ideas and for what they are creating and doing. Pangea 0.03, frontend, Lucy bot, Oracle, and TSC. We are here now. That's what they have created, and right now they are looking to do their ICO and raise funds to go further. So this is also an interesting graph. These are some applications that can be built upon, just ideas of applications. So marriage, smart love, land titles, basically tokenize your land, your assets. Dispute resolution, birth certificates, wills, peer-to-peer security, business incorporation, basic income. So the nation could decide that they will have taxes on their transactions in the Pangea network, and they can allocate these taxes and create basic income for all of their residences or all of their citizens. So that's ideas that can be created. That's, you just need to turn on your imagination and think of what you want to create that blockchain nation, a nation without a nation state, a nation on where only like-minded people group together and decide to work for a similar goals. Peer-to-peer insurance, trade agreements, resource allocation, healthcare, all that can be built upon as third-party applications on the BitNation. And the core functionality is basically storage and search, notarization, timestamps, tokenized assets, wallets and escrow, smart contracts, ID, reputation. I roughly touched upon most of that stuff already. Next, we will be looking for the roadmap. These are some graphs, how the technology works. Well, some of the stuff. And okay, I think there was one more graph for the roadmap. These are some calculations for revenue after 5 years. You can read all about it in their white paper. Smart contracts, and yeah, this is basically their goals based on the funding that they receive. So it's the pre-ICO, basically what they can do if they don't raise anything, if they raise 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, and hard cap. So I think I will just read out that what they will plan to reach if the hard cap is reached. So development team follows upgrade pathways for Pantalaza, Pangea and Pangea hardware networks. Develop Lucy AI towards Echo Cortex. And there's also how the development team would grow based on the funding. So from 8 to 24 and more. So they will be developing a bot, a chat bot. So basically the Pangea will be a mobile application and you will be able to interact with it like a Telegram bots or well, basically like a bot. You give him some instructions and you create contracts on the Pangea network, and it works like that. So research and development will go support research institutions to develop options to power Lucy AI towards Echo Cortex, conduct research into evolution of law on Pangea. So different ideas. For marketing, develop sponsored ads program in target markets, enhanced go-to-market campaigns working with CES cities, refugee cities, and deep events on adoption of both physical and virtual Pangea networks for governance. So basically the marketing would extend to looking for people that need it really the most, refugees from poor countries that have government repressions and stuff like that. Operations, launch BitNation Operation Services on Pangea smart contracts, including payroll, legal, and accounting. Community ecosystem, provide resources to support a wide range of community and developer proposals for opt-in governance, services, and third-party dApps. Also, innovative governance systems for spheres such as CES, city-states, C-Steed. So they have a lot of ideas if they have a lot of funding for different institutions to create knowledge, documentation, video guides, and scholarships for developers to enhance the Pangea ecosystem. Excuse me. So yeah, if they reach their maximum funding, they are planning some really good stuff. So here's the development roadmap, strategic context. So right now we are 2018 Q1 nations. They then want to launch the chat, agreements, arbitration, Lucy in the Q2, public notaries, codes of law, chat 2.0, dApp store, EcoCortex, emoticons, Lucy 2.0, the AI bot, integrate currencies, so you would be able to pay with Bitcoin for stuff on the nation, pet user rewards, public API, dApps, ExoCortex 1.0. So the roadmap goes to 2019 and their public launch is somewhere from Q3 to Q4. So all these features that will be developed, they will be fully launched around in 2 quarters after the token sales. So this is quite fast, and they also already have a project running. So that's that. And we have gone through the whole white paper and the token sale. It will be an auction. There's not really a specific price for which you will buy it. You will need to whitelist, and yeah, hard capped at 30 million. Powers Pangea. Basically everything on Pangea will be used with the token. Is secure and transparent on Ethereum network. So the BitNation story, we covered that. The core contributors, there's actually a really huge team over here, some advisors. No one really is familiar to me personally, but the team is actually quite huge, and they have already been working on the project. So that's that. BitNation citizens, 10,000, already talked about that. 100,000 lines of code written, 200 embassies and consulates, and 5,000 contracts notarized. So this is basically how it all looks like, and within your chat you will be able to interact with the Lucy bot and work with that. So partners, and that's about all that I wanted to talk about in this video. So again, the ideas are really huge, it's really futuristic, it's really interesting how it will play out, and overall it's really something unique, and I'm really interested in how it's going to go. So check it out, read the white paper or the light paper for quicker understanding of the project if my summary was not enough. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I will try to answer them. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.